Hey everyone, we're Red Donkey Projections. Today is September 13th, 2020. Welcome back to a brand new episode. My name is Lucas, and I'm here as always.
Hey guys.
First of all, we hit 3,000 subscribers. Thank you all so much. Wow, we've come a long way, haven't we?
Yes, of course. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. We
And wow,
love
we got a lot of views on the video from 2 days ago.
another
We
milestone.
are we are 4,000 views away on that video from hitting 50,000 views. Can we hit 50,000 views on that video by the end of today? I think we can. But today we'll be discussing the presidential election based on the polls. We made a video like this a week ago. We decided sufficient stuff has changed to redo it because polling for the most part has been looking good for Biden with the exception of a few states such as Florida. We'll discuss that. And today we'll be using the donut thing. I don't know what this is called. Style for showing stuff. But if you guys like this, please let us know in the comments. If you don't like this setup, also let us know in the comments so we know which style to do in the future. But with that being said, let's get right into it. All right, let's start off by looking at all the states. I've already labeled the states with no data here, but most of the states do have data now, such as Oregon, which actually didn't have data before. But anyways, national average 7.3, 50.6%, looking pretty good for Biden. I'm almost certain that Biden will win the popular vote.
At the
Alabama,
end, At the end of the video, we will fill in the no data states with what we think will happen. And also, just for context, our margins. 15 and up is a safe, 5 to 15 is a likely, 1 to 5 is a lean, and less than 1 point is a tilt.
Yep, thanks for clarifying that. I don't think that, I didn't say that sadly. But anyways, Alabama's safe, no surprise here. Let's head on to the next one. Alaska has been interesting. I think that overall it is a likely. No, actually it's lean overall.
Trump plus 1, July
5,
17th.
3, 1, 6. It's a lean. Yeah.
Yeah, very
Interesting.
interesting polling. But they're not the best polls, as we see. We don't have a lot of high quality polls.
Yeah. And there is a decent amount of undecided voters, which will probably split for the GOP and Trump because, Alaska is a very safe state. First swing state here, Arizona. Biden's up 4.7. He was actually up 5 points, yesterday, which means it has fallen from likely to lean. But it is an improvement from before. Before, I think when we did this video last time, it was like 3 points Biden. That is obviously cinched. Biden's lead has since widened to I want to say a decent 4-point lead here. All right,
If we made this video 2 days ago, Arizona would have been a likely, which is funny.
Yeah. 5 points if you round up, 4.7. Okay, next state, California. Oop, I missed Arkansas. Arkansas has been interesting in that we've only had one poll out of here showing Arkansas is lean. Very interesting. I don't think that's it's not gonna be a lean at the end of the day, but it's been interesting. You guys always like to comment red California. No, right? That is not happening.
Absolutely not.
We're not even going to discuss that. But anyways, Colorado is seem to have narrowed up a tiny bit, but Colorado's nearly zero shot for Donald Trump. Probably I give it I'll give him a decent 10%, 5% chance at winning, 5 to 10% chance of winning, but it's really not likely. Connecticut, no surprise. East Coast is always very Democratic. Delaware, Joe Biden's home state. I don't even need to check the data to know that it's probably safe.
Yeah, of course it's safe.
And then Florida. This is one of the states where it has narrowed up for Biden a bit. And end of August he was up 5 points. It's since narrowed up to 2.6 points. Marist College shows Trump up by 1 and an even. So for the most part, with most of these Marist College polls, they have been looking good for Biden, with the exception of Florida. So Florida has tightened up, but again, a loss in Florida for Biden is definitely not the end of the world. There's definitely other options to get to 270. Georgia. You know what, Eric, why don't you talk about this one?
Yeah, so Georgia has actually kind of rebounded for Donald Trump. Well, I say rebounded kind of with a grain of salt because he's still only up by 1.6. But he has rebounded in comparison to what he was at before. look how close it was just a few days ago. It was very close. It was, I think, less than 1 point, so Georgia would have been at a tilt. But new polls did come out, and it shows how Donald Trump is at a pretty steady 1.5 lead. And once again, in Georgia, he's not doing very well in comparison to other Republicans campaigning in Georgia for the, in previous elections. Georgia has been moving more and more to the left. Not in this election, but, in future elections, it's very possible that Georgia swings.
Absolutely. We had a point in time when Biden was up. He's no longer up. But I think Georgia could potentially be competitive in future. Actually, I'm certain that Georgia will be competitive in future elections. 100% sure. 1.6 lead is definitely not good for Trump at all. Hawaii, one of the most liberal states in the nation. No surprise there. Idaho, safe. New poll out from this one, actually, September 7th. Yeah, we're getting some new polls in, which is interesting. Indiana, Obama actually won this state in 2008, but Indiana is very solidly red now. Iowa, we have Biden up by only one. Oh, interesting, isn't it? That Biden's up, Trump's up more in Iowa than in Georgia. By 0.1, Iowa does look like it probably will go to Trump at the end of the day. I don't think Biden has much of a chance here. I don't think he shouldn't allocate his resources here. He should be focusing on other states. All right. Kansas. Kansas is not as Republican as Wyoming, for example, but it probably is going to Trump anyway. Survey USA has Trump up by 7, which is interesting. But anyway, next is Kentucky. I'm guessing it actually is safe now.
Very safe, yeah.
Yeah, at one point in time it wasn't likely, but yeah. Okay, now it's safe. All right. Moving on is Louisiana, which is actually Trafalgar. It's a likely. Trafalgar is a terrible pollster. I know they have Trump up by 16. I think it's going to be a little bit less than 16. But anyways, that's Louisiana. Maine all-state is a 10.6. No surprise here. We have it as likely as well. Mm-hmm. The more competitive, district by district has been interesting in that Maine's second has Biden up by 4, actually. Isn't that interesting?
Maine first is up by 23.
Yeah, Maine first, I'll just put that as safe because I'm pretty sure that is safe without even doing calculations. Regarding Maine second, though, we got to calculate that right now. But Eric, why don't you talk a little bit about Maine second while I do the calculations?
Yeah, so Maine second, it's a lot more Republican and rural than Maine's first district. You can see that just by the difference between the polls. In the most recent polls, 23 and 4 plus a 19 range. Donald Trump should have no problem taking Maine's second district. He did. He did take it from Hillary Clinton in 2016, and this year should be no problem. But that +4 poll should be just a little bit of a concern.
Yeah, this one I didn't even do the calculation. I can probably assume that it is. I think it is a lean. Most of the polls had Biden up 1 to 5. Only one poll had Trump up by 1. So with that being kept in mind. It's interesting to see that Biden is leading the polls here. I don't think that Biden will carry Maine second at the end of the day. Trump will probably win that one. Maryland, no surprise here. Home state of our good friend Ethan Ablagi from his own channel. Great channel. Massachusetts, very liberal. No surprise. Michigan, now to a swing state. Oops, I hit Minnesota. Michigan, we made a whole video on Michigan, and all the other states' recent polls. We won't dig deep into it. You can check it out. I'll leave a card up here. But in Michigan, Biden has increased his lead by a lot. Rasmussen, a very right-leaning pollster, has Biden up by 9. People love to comment on our videos saying that Rasmussen is so accurate all the time. Well, if that's the case, you're using that logic, which is false. That logic is completely not true because Rasmussen's a terrible pollster. But if we're using that logic, doesn't Biden win Michigan in a 9-point margin then? But anyway, that's besides the point. The point is that Biden is looking very good right now to flip Michigan from red to blue. All right, next is Minnesota. Minnesota, we also saw some recent things. We actually didn't make a video about this huge drop we saw yesterday. We made the video on September 11th, but we saw a huge drop from 6.4-point lead all the way up for Biden to a 7.7-point lead. So Minnesota is also looking pretty good to go to Biden right now. The rural areas could be a problem for Democrats in the future, but definitely not this election. Mississippi, 12-point margin, no surprise here.
Missouri.
Interesting. Missouri only a 6.6-point lead.
Mm-hmm. We also have it, I think we put it as likely in our presidential predictions as well.
Again, Missouri's not like as solid red as some of the other states like Alabama or Wyoming. Obama actually did come close to carrying it in 2008. So that is interesting to see. That's only a 6-point lead.
That was a landslide then.
Yeah, it was a landslide election. It's kind of interesting to see that Trafalgar only has Trump up by 11, and Trafalgar leans to the right a lot. So I'm not sure how much he really is up in reality. Oh, wow. Only an 8-point lead for Trump in Montana. It was up at 9 points before. It has since also dwindled down. So that one is a likely there. All right. Nebraska. Okay, so we're only going to care about Nebraska second here, although we are going to care about Nebraska first too. I think we are going to move Nebraska first to probably a likely R instead of a safe R. But Nebraska second is very interesting. Essentially, Nebraska splits their congressional votes, their electoral votes based on congressional districts. They have 3 congressional districts. There's 2 electoral votes if you win the whole state, and the overall state popular vote, and you get 1 electoral vote for each congressional district you win. Nebraska second is a more densely populated area of Nebraska, and it's also considered Nebraska second also is very highly. They have a high number of college graduates, and essentially the educated vote. And statistics do show, according to past elections, that more of the people who have a college degree do tend to vote Democratic. So it's interesting to keep in mind. With that being considered, I'm not really surprised that Nebraska second is a likely blue state. We have it as lean blue on our current predictions. We do think that Biden will win this one at the end of the day. And now Nebraska second. Now Nebraska first, on the other hand, is interesting to see that it's only a 2-point lead for Trump. So that's only a lead. I forgot to mark these in, but these two are.
No
wow,
data.
blanking out a lot today. These are no data states. All right. Anyways, Nevada now. Nevada. I mean, we are hearing people saying, "Oh, Nevada's gonna go red." In 2016, remember that they overestimated Trump here. They had Trump winning by, I believe, around a percentage point, which he didn't. He lost the state to Hillary Clinton, and Hillary won in a pretty decent margin. So we're not surprised that it's likely here as well. 8-point lead is very solid a 5-point lead is very solid for Joe Biden. All right. Now to New Hampshire. So it was interesting. Yeah, it was very interesting to see that we did see kind of a dip for Biden here. I think it was the Siena Upshot poll that kind of swung those numbers. But I think, I think it's interesting that they have Jorgensen at 4%. I don't think Jorgensen will carry 4% of the vote here. But this is interesting to see. I don't think Trump has a realistic shot in New Hampshire. It's probably still going to go to Biden anyway, but polls do still show a likely margin. New Jersey, our home state. No surprise here.
Safe. That's like the East Coast.
Yup. New Mexico, likely. Not really surprised here either. Yeah, we're not going to discuss New Mexico either. New York. Made a whole video about this. No, New York's not going red.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. North Carolina's a swing state, actually. We actually have it right now as a toss-up state. But according to polling, it's a tilt. This one really could go either way. If I had to choose a winner, I would probably say Biden, but I think it could definitely narrow up to Trump's advantage in the future. Because we actually did see some, I believe, Monmouth University. We saw some Monmouth University polls. All three showed Biden up by 2. And
Isn't the polling average up by 1? So wouldn't that make it a lean?
Oh yeah, sorry, you're right. Yeah, thanks for letting me know. So that is a lean because it is 1 to 5. All right, North Dakota, safe.
No surprise.
Yeah, I saw that 17 there. It threw me off. Oh wait, no, 17's above. I can't do math today. Ohio's kind of a swing state. Eric, you can discuss this.
Yeah, so there was some chatter a few weeks ago how Biden could potentially take Ohio. He was doing very well, as we can see. He was ahead by just a little bit, but once again, Trump was Ohio and the other state, Iowa. They were, pretty good strongholds for Donald Trump in the 2016 election. And for a good chunk of time, Donald Trump was also holding on to Ohio and Iowa. But, Joe Biden did take it just a little bit, but now he kind of has rebounded, but only to 1 point. So it wasn't a really huge rebound. But in the general election, we do think that Donald Trump will take it in the lead.
Right, and I do believe that Ohio, Joe Biden should definitely not focus his attention on here. It's not really a state he needs to win. Oklahoma safe, no surprise, very conservative. Pennsylvania is now also a kind of a swing state. This is one of the changes. It was actually at lean before. It was at 4.4 last time we did the video. His lead since has improved. We made a whole video about, Biden surging the polls, which, again, got a lot of views. Thank you all. But that is a likely. Pennsylvania will probably go Biden this time as well. South Carolina, we actually do see narrower polls. South Carolina is, again, I would consider like a second tier conservative Republican state, because it's probably going to go to Trump, but definitely not in as large a margin as some of the other states here.
It has been pretty consistent. It was pretty straight lines, a few ups and downs, but pretty consistent.
Yeah, about a 6-point lead. So it's definitely, in our opinions, we also put this in our predictions, a likely state. It's definitely not safe. No way. All right, Tennessee now, safe red state, is also likely. Interesting, isn't it? I think in one period of time it was a safe state at one point in time. Yeah, that lead since has expanded for the lead has actually narrowed for Trump a little bit, but again, it's Tennessee. The only Democrat who can win here is Phil Bredesen, and he still lost the Senate race. Texas now. All right, Eric, you want to discuss Texas?
Yep. So we made another video in July how Biden was up in Texas, which was pretty historic because we all know Texas is, one of the most conservative states in the country, and that is most certainly not the case anymore. Ohio and Iowa are sometimes polling higher than Texas is. And, Donald Trump has really lost his lead in Texas. We do not think, though, that Joe Biden could take this. We see some new polls, even, not the best, but, even Trump +1. So it's really back and forth. We do not think Biden should focus on Texas because there are other more reasonable and logical ways he could win.
Right, I completely agree. Texas is a lean Republican, which is actually funny because these 4 states do match our predictions. I think they usually are tilts. I think, margin has changed a little bit. Yeah. Anyways, Texas is a huge prize, 38 electoral votes. Utah, one of the most conservative states in the nation as well. Home of the now home of Mitt Romney, who's a senator here. He actually was the Republican presidential nominee in 2012. He's a huge never Trumper. So I think it'll be definitely interesting to see what happens in Utah. It's not competitive, but it's going to be a little bit, narrower than before. Evan McMullin, who was a conservative independent that ran in 2016, who ran solely to win Utah because he was a never Trumper. He didn't like Hillary. He tried to, take the electoral votes from Utah. He actually did quite well. He got 3rd place. He got 20-something%. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here. This year, it's going to go to Trump, but the margin will be narrower. Virginia, no surprise. Northern Virginia is quite liberal now. Washington, safe, no shocker. Fun fact, they are actually going to have a public option for healthcare, I believe, starting in 2021. West Virginia, probably one of the most safest.
Yeah, conservative states in the nation.
Either this one or Wyoming or Alabama, one of the three, but very conservative. And finally, Wisconsin, our final swing state, 6.5-point lead. This is a likely. Did I miss Oregon? I think I might have missed Oregon. Let me quickly go back to Oregon. Oregon is a likely. That's surprising, isn't it? Only a 12-point lead. But anyway, Oregon's going to go to Biden at the end of the day anyway.
Mm-hmm. Some people think that Oregon may not go to Joe Biden, but it is.
It is, yeah. Anyways, Wisconsin, final swing state here. In 2016, Hillary was projected to win this, but she didn't have 50% of the vote. This margin for the marginal lead for Biden is the exact same as Hillary. But again, Hillary didn't have 50% support here. She had like 46-something, if I'm remembering correctly. So with the higher level of support, there's a lot less that Trump can improve on due to the fact that there's not many undecided voters. In 2016, what kind of gave Trump the victory and what caused the polls to not be, not show the full picture was because those undecided voters, the majority of them split for Trump. A lot of people didn't really realize that support numbers do matter. They just kind of, I guess, focused on the margin. They didn't really recognize the high undecided number. But Wisconsin, looking at this time, does look very good to go to Biden right now. Before it was closer, but now it's a lot more expanded. And this is our final map here. You can see Biden with 305. Let's quickly put in all the other states because we do know which way they are going to vote, probably. These are all safe states with the no data. Funny enough, this is actually very close to our own prediction, with the only exception being Maine. Second, we have red, and it's a lot less colorful. Like we have Arkansas, we have a safe. Indiana, we have a safe.
That's essentially the only difference.
Margins are different. North Carolina's toss-up, Florida's tilt-up D. But this is, I think, a pretty accurate representation. And also the blue wall states, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, are lean D states. Yeah. But essentially, polls aren't 100% correct all the time. Of course not. There's a margin of error there. But this race is different in that Biden has a much higher level of support than Hillary did because he is much more popular than Trump is. And that is the end of it for today. And thank you all so much for watching. If you like this episode, please hit the like button. If you like our content, please subscribe. We'll see you in our next episode tomorrow.
See ya.